Hey, welcome everyone. Jennifer Elliott, welcome to Yin. We are going to work on the heart, lung, and intestine meridians. We're going to open up through the arms and shoulders and do a few twists. And our animal spirit card today was hawk. So we'll kind of do our spreading our wings, if you will, and we'll get into that. So we'll get started in our reclined butterfly. And because I want to do a lot of opening of the heart or the arms, I've set myself up in my bolster ramp. So I've got my bolster elevated with a block. I like the blanket underneath me. So I've added that. And then you could use props or not under the knees. I have these extra blocks, so I'm going to use those. And whether it looks like mine or your own version, let's get started in a reclined butterfly. We'll be here for 4 minutes. All right. So turn the palms up. And you can decide if the arms start close to the body or they start to go a little wider. Relax the eyes. And consciously soften the forehead. You can soften the forehead by, instead of letting the closed eyes gaze still be kind of up to the back of the forehead, take your inward gaze down. If you're trying to view your heart, or just look downward, and you'll notice that even with eyes closed, it relaxes the forehead. Moves us away from the thinking mind. And then continue that melting quality of slacking the jaw, letting the jaw relax. And when the shoulders get heavy, maybe the hands start to feel a bit more relaxed on the floor. Relax along the spine until the hips get heavy. And relax the legs. Maybe they start to get heavy into the support of their props of their arms. And then just enjoy the breath. So the breath might start to become a bit more expansive and a bit more relaxed. And just slowly shift yourself into this space. At the halfway mark. So 2 minutes left here to just explore how the body, the mind arrived in this moment. About a minute left. Since we're in the heart and the lungs today, just maybe observe how the breath is moving in and out. You have a lot of space around the heart. Are the lungs filling to capacity or do they feel limited? Guide the knees together. Take just a moment to rebound, knees knocking into one another. And we'll go ahead and roll to the side and press ourselves up. And we're going to move into a twist. I'm going to do a simple twist on my back. So I'm going to move all my props out of my way. I'll have my bolster, my blanket handy just in case I want to use them. I'm going to return to my back. Pull the knees into the chest, both knees in. And then my arms will go wide, either straight or I can bend the elbows into cactus arms. And then I'm going to rock the knees side to side. But I want to keep the knees close to my chest. If I rock them low, that just is affecting the low back, not necessarily in a healthy way. So pull them in. And then when you're ready, drop the knees left. And decide for you. Maybe you want that bolster under or between the knees. I'm going to maybe add a blanket in between the knees, a little spacer. Or some of you may just straighten one of the legs, right? Maybe you just want kind of a half simple twist. So once you've decided, we'll be here for 3 minutes. And as we're working the heart and lungs today, we get the intestines, which are paired with them through our twist. But depending on how you're doing the arms here, if you have these cactus arms, you might slide those elbows up a little bit if that feels okay in the shoulders. And just create this nice space across the heart. You're just joining today, welcome. Our animal spirit card today was Hawk. Hawk represents the messenger. Sometimes that messenger is bringing messages from spirit. We might even just contemplate, meditate on spirit being the breath. What messages does the breath bring you if it's limited or shallow or labored? What information does that give you? And just like our hawk, we can feel ourselves floating up on the breath, on that air, just like a bird riding the thermal. So take your natural inhale and notice the body rise on the breath. And there's a moment of float before you exhale. And so just ride that breath. And we'll pass the halfway mark. For 30 seconds. So slowly, let's make our way to center and over to the other side. I'm going to pause in the blanket. I'm going to get there first. See if I want to add that blanket since that's what I did on side one. And then find those cactus arms if that's okay on the shoulders. And then we're here 3 minutes. Whenever I do these cactus arms, I'm reminded of a client I had probably almost 20 years ago now, who's a pro tennis player. And when we did this pose, I think I measured and his hands were off the ground about 13 inches. It was so tight he couldn't come anywhere near placing his hands down. Well, what we did is we just took a bunch of blankets, we straightened his arms out, and raised his arms to the height that they wanted to be. And all we did for like, I don't know, it wasn't even many, it was like 2 or 3 sessions max. We just breathed. And after so many breaths, let's say 30 seconds a minute, I would remove a layer of the blankets, remove a layer, until the third time I saw him, we just settled on the floor and he needed no blankets. It just took that time and attention, that conscious relaxation. But pretty quickly, his new normal was this pose where his arms could rest on the floor. So as you breathe, if you feel any tightness, any limitation, just notice it. Don't judge it. Use your breath as a way to give it permission to relax. And even if it's not today, maybe a couple more times of that breath work will help you ease into a bit more space. We're halfway through. Forty seconds. All right. Really slowly unwind, come to center, little rebound. Maybe just rest the hands on the belly or the chest. And then we'll open the heart evenly. So we'll go ahead and roll to one side, press ourselves up. I'm going to move into Mountain Brook, where this could be a 2-block heart opener. So for me, I like to sit on a blanket. I could take a bolster or a rolled blanket to go under my chest. And a lot of times I use a block for under my head, but this blanket feels a little bit more comfortable, so I'm going to use that for kind of my pillow. So I'm sitting on my prop. I'm going to lie back. I think it was yesterday we also did the shoulder stand version, so you are welcome to take that one if you prefer. This way we're kind of opening the chest evenly. Those arms out to the sides. And then I'm not really working into my legs, so I'm just going to keep the knees bent or straight. And we can just focus on the upper arms. And we're here for 4 minutes, so whatever version you'd like to be in. All right. And once you come into your pose, just start to settle. The breath be the mover. Our heart meridian is connected with the element of fire, upward momentum. As you take an inhale, you can feel that rise just like flames of fire, the chest lifting. And exhale, we can connect to the lung meridian, which is connected to metal and contracting. Inhale the heart, that upward fire momentum. Exhale lungs, metal, contraction, that inward motion. Just continue that, observing the change between those directions, between what we might call fire and ice, or fire and metal. Just about at the halfway mark. 2 minutes left. And inhale, heart and fire qualities connected to the tongue. And the lung and the exhale and the contraction is connected to the nose. And inhale, maybe notice how the tongue lifts up to the roof of the mouth. It sort of creates that floor for the nasal passages. And exhale as you press through the nose, contracting everything back in. Less than a minute to go. Bend your knees if they weren't already. You can shift your hips, let's just say right as the knees fall left, and slowly press over onto that side. And everyone maybe was a little different, especially if you took the supported shoulder stand version, but I'm going to keep my setup. I'm just going to redo my pillow here a little better. And I'm going to move into a side angle. If you don't like this, you could do seated side angle, or you could do banana asana. And I'm just going to keep my props as they are. My hip, I like to be a little bit on a blanket. I'm going to side bend over my bolster, whatever's under my body. I've got a blanket or something under my head. I can stack or stagger those legs. And if the shoulder feels okay, I can bring the top arm over. If that feels a bit much, I can release the arm. Or of course you have those other two variations, banana asana or any seated side angle. And we'll be here for 4 minutes. Breathing into the side of the rib cage, getting into the side and back of the lungs. Maybe connecting to your skin. Your skin is considered your third lung. And a lot of our dysfunction shows up in the skin. So if there's something going on with the lungs, with the gut, it may show up in your skin, maybe as rashes, hives, acne. And a lot of allergies, um, mostly like to dusts and oak trees, which is funny because I live in Thousand Oaks. Uh, but it tends to show up as hives, little rashes on my skin. And for me, I always know when I'm doing better when I can sort of keep those rashes down. They're not as effective. So it's just another clue into my health and how I'm responding to my external and even my internal environment. How are those things interacting with my internal environment that's creating that external experience? The halfway mark. And 90 seconds. It's interesting. I immediately started itching. Right? So to me, that tells me what am I having a reaction to something? Was I bit by something? But also too, sometimes the body creates distractions. So it makes us hard to focus on our meditation, our contemplation. And if we don't scratch that itch, does it go away? Can we just resettle into our meditative state? About 20 seconds left. Okay, so slowly unwind. We do a little rebound, a little fetal position rest. And then press up, and we'll do the other side. If you were doing this version or second side of any of the other postures you may have chosen instead. We're sticking with the 4 minutes. Right, and we're breathing into the lung on this side. Is there any difference? Anything else that comes up for you? Yeah. Qualities that we can attribute to the hawk, being insightful, intuitive, intelligent, observant. In your pose, allow those qualities to explore your pose. Are getting any insights from being here, in the body and your thoughts? Do you have an intuition? What do you observe as you hold your attention steady here? At the halfway mark. Final minute. Your last 20 seconds. Slowly just take a rebound. It might look like a fetal position. And then press yourself up to seated. And we're going to move into child's pose. Now, a lot of times when I do child's pose in this practice, I tend to do a wide knee child's pose because maybe I'm also offering something like a frog, which if you want to take a wider knee, that's also fine. But today, since we're also moving into the intestines, I'm going to explore myself maybe having the legs a little closer together. You know, it kind of depends what's wide for you. But if I can, I'm going to have those knees a little closer together, which will put a little bit more pressure on the digestive area, right? And so I can settle into my child's pose that way. So it's just a suggestion, but we'll do child's pose 4 minutes. Again, our hop is about receiving messages from spirit. We receive those through auditory, sort of hear, and intuition and insight. And just learning to trust that inner voice. I was going back to school again and taking a college class today, and we were in person. And at one point during class, I've not met these people. I saw a girl, and I just kept thinking to myself, she seems like a Leilani. And I just kept saying it over and over in my head. And I thought, that's strange. Why would I be so adamant on that being her name? And so I just kind of let it go. About 20 minutes later, the instructor called on her and said, Leilani, whatever he was saying. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I thought, was I really psychic and knew that that was her name? Or was there something else that I perceived? Maybe he said it at the beginning of practice. Maybe I noticed her picture during an online discussion, right? And so sometimes what we might view as being psychic, it's just really all those other senses have picked up something. They're putting together a little story for you, and they present it in your ear for you to listen to pay attention to. And then you can take that information or not. Right? So I probably had all that in the background, and then for whatever reason decided that she fit all that information. I just chose to listen. As you're settling in here, just notice what thoughts come up, how random they might be, and just pay attention. About at the halfway point. What information are you being presented with? Maybe 5 more seconds. Last breath. Go ahead and come on up. Maybe you press to a table, even a down dog, whatever feels good for you. And then we'll move into Sphinx. So I'm going to use my bolster here for under my elbows. We'll see how I'm feeling if I want to make changes. But we've done a lot of opening up the heart. So I think for a lot of us, this may feel okay. Whatever you're doing, we are sticking with the 4 minutes again. Just creating this nice open heart. This also puts a little pressure on the belly and digestive system. When the lungs and even in the heart, meridians are not balanced, it may manifest as sensitivities in the digestive system. If you're bloated, maybe you're constipated, maybe it's the other way. If you're having a lot of digestive issues, maybe notice, are you breathing deep enough? You're holding your breath. Fight, flight, or freeze may not allow you to fully digest your food. It makes you nauseous or sick. An inability to breathe deeply may cause you not to massage the internal organs as much. Things may move a little slower. Just bring your attention to your navel, to your digestive system. And take some really nice relaxing breaths, just nice massaging breaths. The halfway mark if you need to make any changes. Got a minute left. Last few breaths. Right, so just flatten out. If the bolster is there, you can leave it, just kind of rebound on the other side for a moment. We can't do hawk or any other bird without doing at least one extended wings. So I'll show you that and I'll probably do mine at the wall. So I'm lying flat for extended wings. I'm taking my right hand out to the right. I'm looking away from it, bringing my right ear down. That can be plenty. Or I'm going to use the left hand to roll onto that right side. I'm just bending that left leg, placing it behind the right. I might even bend the right knee. So some of you will move here. I'm going to do this at the wall, just putting my hand up at the wall. And we're going to be here 3 minutes, whatever you decide. Get that started since some of you are there already. Okay, 3 minutes. Extended wings. At the wall, about a foot and a half away. You can measure how close or far away up to you. The thumb is up, the hand is shoulder height or lower. And then if you want to go deeper, you can turn and look to the center of the mat. Away from the wall. Hawks also possess courage and wisdom. I know that courage, that wisdom, for me, definitely reside in the heart. About a minute in. About a minute left. 30 seconds. Unwind. A moment to rest and rebound. Notice any sensation or change in that arm. And then when you're ready, we'll do the other side. So some of you are extending the wing on the floor, left arm out, roll onto that side. Others of us are using the wall. Either way, we're here 3 minutes. The breath and the heartbeat you may not notice until you're labored, right? So the heartbeat, you may not notice it until maybe you're working really hard and you feel that heart pumping really hard. Maybe it feels like a little pain in the chest, or you just really notice that high blood pressure, or even low blood pressure for that matter. Low blood pressure, so I tend to notice that as it makes me faint. And the lungs, you may not notice until you're out of breath. It's difficult to breathe. We don't always want to notice when we're in distress. But can we notice the heart and the lungs at baseline? We'll get a bigger breath without strain, a longer breath without strain. And let the heart slow the beat down. Allow it to be more efficient. We'll do both on the next pose, but just observe it before it's needed. Meditate, contemplate on the state of it now, before we've done anything. Heart openers do make the heart palpate a little bit more, so if you've noticed that on your back bends, just observe for you. As we're here about 30 more seconds. Okay, so slowly unwind. Take a moment just to rest and regroup. And then we're going to take legs in the air or legs at the wall. So that was kind of what I was talking about in the last pose, where we get to manage the heart and the lungs, make them work a little less hard. Decide which one you like. Legs up the wall, legs in the air, just maybe whatever you have access to. And we've done a lot of heart opening as far as the arms, but you might feel like you want to rest the hands on the belly or the chest, or even give yourself a hug. You can even wrap up the arms, kind of resting across your body. So if you feel like making changes to those arms, please do. We'll be here 4 minutes. And I always like resting the arms sort of on the belly or even the hug. It's a nice self-soother, another way to tell your nervous system to relax. This helps to maintain or contain your energy, drawing it in instead of expending it out. Pull your attention inward. About 90 seconds left here. Thirty seconds. Bend our knees. If you're on the prop, set your feet onto the floor. If you're at the wall, just leave them on the wall for a moment. We'll leave out. And then lift your hips if you're on the prop, or move it. Hips to the floor, just let the knees knock in. And we'll finish with one more twist. So if you want to take a straight leg with a strap, go for it. I'm just going to do a bent knee, pulling the right knee in and crossing it over onto the bolster. So maybe it's a little more restorative. I'm going to put that blanket on top of the leg. And we'll just do 2 minutes here. So I'll actually set the timers. It's 4 minutes total, which is 2 minutes a leg. And again, maybe we're a little bit more contained. Hands might rest on the belly or the chest. In the heart and lung meridians, when they're balanced, we might feel a state of love, courage. And when they're not balanced, we might feel a state of hate or deep grief. And instead of being negative, feeling like one is positive, one is negative, it's just a spectrum. We need one to understand the other, just like yin and yang. But just like yin and yang, it's not the full either or. Yin and yang symbol, the white and black, there's a little black in the white, a little white in the black, a little bit of a blend. And so find your balance between those two sides of the spectrum. Noticing where you are right here. And it may change, it may evolve, but just take a snapshot of this moment. Couple breaths left. All right. So let's slowly unwind. And whatever you did, take the other side. And I'll finish our practice here. 2 minutes, final twist. Let something go. All right. Begin to unwind. You might just lie on your back for a moment with the knees knocking in, a nice little constructive rest. And from here, you can surrender into Shavasana or maybe come into your seated meditation. And we'll just take our final moments to let the benefits of our practice settle in. Take a 3 minutes, final pose. Shavasana. Begin to draw our attention back. If you're on your back, you can slowly transition onto your right side. Gently press up to seated. Hands to your heart in gratitude. Let's lift our chest, bow our heads. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great holiday weekend. No classes on Monday, and then I'll be gone next week. So I've got Shiloh, Alfie, and Dana filling in. So show them a little sub love. All right.